Good evening, everyone. Hope you're ready for our flight tonight from London Heathrow to Hong Kong Kai Tak. Just been reviewing our final dispatch paperwork. Should have a pretty good flight this evening. Let's all do our part to make sure that is the case. Expecting 254 souls aboard, around 30,000 pounds in terms of baggage and cargo. Our minimum takeoff fuel is 83,447 pounds and a block fuel of 84,082 pounds. Fairly heavy takeoff tonight for our 777-200ER as we travel to Hong Kong. Our route will take us southeast across Europe, across the Black Sea, just north of Turkey, across the Caspian Sea, into Central Asia, crossing Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, or cutting into China, and then making our way south to Hong Kong. Overall, weather en route is pretty good. It's the end of the monsoon season. There are still some storms passing through the area. There's some thunderstorms offshore and some south of Hong Kong. Those shouldn't affect our operations tonight under our current schedule, though. Of course, we'll stay appraised of any updates from ATC en route. It is likely that runway 13 will be in use at Kai Tak. Thus, we are expecting the checkerboard approach. I believe everyone here has flown it, correct? Well, I've flown it many times. This is my coffee-stained approach plate for this approach into Hong Kong. This is a challenging approach. There's a lot to take account of. There's terrain in the area, and it is a non-precision approach. Need to be flown visually on final to make that turn onto the runway. We'll want to stay ahead of the aircraft, so it's best to be familiar with it. Of course, we'll brief it on the aircraft before our descent, but I do encourage you all to review it while we're here on the ground, just so we're ready. All right, if there are no questions, I think we can head out to the aircraft and get ready for our flight to Hong Kong. Let's get configured for our departure. Our APU is running. We've turned on the inertial reference units to start getting those aligned. Let's go ahead and set our initial position. We're still in our last position, so we can go ahead and enter that here. And now let's go ahead and request our route. The planned route is programmed in. It's one of our company routes, so let's go ahead and grab that. That route request is in. Sent. Just wait for that to come back, and load in here. There we go. Let's load that route. And there it is, ready to activate. Let's execute that. So let's confirm. We are headed from London Heathrow to Hong Kong Kai Tak as expected. Clear our messages here. Let's take a look at our perf initialization here. Can accept the data provided. Let's grab 0 fuel weight 386.4 and a current gross weight of 581.2. Fairly heavy aircraft for our long flight today. Now let's get our legs page, which has our route info. Go ahead and get our wind data loaded in so we can properly calculate for that. And that is ready to enter. Alright, and then let's head back over to departures. We are expecting runway 27 right, leaving Heathrow, and the BPK-7F departure. We'll go ahead and execute that. Let's take a look at our Hong Kong arrival here. We are expecting runway 13 at this time. And we're going to go with the tamped 13 arrival. Let's go ahead and execute that. Head over to our VNav page and take a look at descent page. Go ahead and enter our forecast here. Quest. That'll give us the expected wind data we need for our calculations. And should be good to go there. Right. We do have a discontinuity here. I'm going to go ahead and enter DET to go ahead and clear that up, and we'll execute that alteration. Okay. Just have a quick look here. Over to our plan view. And cycle through our route. A long flight across Asia here. And overall it looks good. Do our flows through the overhead panel now. With fuel on board, let's go ahead and turn on the seat belts. So passengers will be loading into the aircraft here. Alright, thrust asymmetry compensation is set to auto. Primary flight computers are guard closed. Battery is on. APU is on, along with the APU generator switch. Passenger and cabin utility lights are on. Bus tie switches are set to auto, and the generator switches are set to on. They're currently off with the engines off. They're set to off here.
Passenger oxygen is guard closed. Window heat switches are on. Ram air turbine is also guard closed. So the engine primary switches for hydraulics are on, and the electric hydraulic pumps are off at this time. Demand pump selectors should all be off. We have our seatbelt and no smoking sign set. Our overhead light control is in the mid position. Dome light control, can set that where we need it. We don't have to worry about storm lights at this time. Master bright switch is on. Glare shield and panel floodlights as needed. Landing lights are currently off. APU fire set up as needed. These are guard closed. Cargo fire alarm switches are off. This is guard closed. We see our electronic engine control modes in norm, and they are guard closed as we want. Start selectors in norm. Auto start switch is on. Cross feeds are off. Double check our fuel pumps. Anti-ice for engine and wing are all set to auto. Our beacon light is off. Nav logo is on. Runway turn-off switches are off. Strobe and taxi lights are off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard British Airways Flight 68 non-stop service to Hong Kong. We have just about finished our boarding process and we'll be closing the door shortly with the goal of an on-time departure. So please take your seats, get those carry-on bags stowed either under the seat in front of you or in the overhead compartment, and we'll be on our way shortly. As always, thank you for flying with us.
Let's go ahead and set the reference on our altimeter here. Current weather conditions, 29.50. Go ahead and get that set. 0.5, there we go. Correctly set for our current field elevation. We are on the map setting. Be with our PFD setup here. And make sure we have our flight director turned on. The auto throttle switches are in the arm position, correctly set for indicated airspeed. Autopilot is currently disengaged. Have our heading bug set to our runway heading, departing from 27 right. And bank limit is currently in the auto position as we want. Our correct CCR display switch set there. We have a good test of our oxygen supply for the crew. Happy with our panel brightness. Off on all of our our switches over here. We are set to the correct UTC time. 10:17 p.m. currently. We are set for the MFT on our inboard display here, which is good. We are the norm for heading reference. We do see we are showing flight instruments. Initial reference units have lined up. And we see a match with our standby unit here as well. Alright. What's inhibit is blank. Override often off and guarded. Gear override off and guarded. And terrain override also off and guarded. Confirming that the landing gear lever is down and the alternate gear switch is the guarded position. Continuing our flows here, the alternate pitch trim levers are in the neutral position. Confirm speed brake is down. The thrust reversers are down. Throttle is closed. The parking brake is set. Fuel switches are cut off position. And the alternate flap selector is also off. Let's just check our rudder trim position and our aileron trim switches, all in the mid position as we would want. Alright, and in terms of our pre-flight checklist, we did our oxygen test and flight instruments are set correctly. So pre-flight checklist is complete.
Welcome on board. It is so wonderful to see you here. How are you? Very good, very good. Looks like you're getting all settled in. I see you have a pillow there. I wanted to offer you a blanket. These are wonderfully soft and warm, perfect for a long flight like this. I will note that it is clearly labeled British Airways to identify it in the case of theft. Give you that. Yes, we just like to let people know not to take the blankets from the aircraft. It's no joke. I did 6 years in prison for stealing an airline blanket. Yep. Some airlines don't really care, and some do. Can I get you a beverage before we get underway? Be happy to prep something for you here while we're getting ready to depart. Oh, you're thinking from the wine list. Beautiful. We have so many great selections. If you're looking for a red, of course, the Bordeaux, the vintages we have are incredible. Yeah, the Chateau Montrose is a brilliant choice. I will be back with that for you in just a moment, okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and finish setting up the CDU here. Go back to init, and it automatically has us on our takeoff reference page. This will be a flaps 5 takeoff. Get our center of gravity position entered here. Require 4.75
units of trim. So we have done some takeoff calculations here. Going to go ahead and enter the derating information for derating the engines for takeoff. It'll be takeoff 1, and the temperature we're going to enter is 35, and that gives us 97.3% N1 for our takeoff thrust, which matches our calculations. So now, based on that, we have our thrust info entered, and we can go ahead and enter the calculated V-speeds, which are very close to the given reference values from the airplane here. So 155 for V1, 159 for rotation speed, and V2 we have at 163. Alright, so that is our takeoff data. Let's go ahead and enter V2 here in the speed reference window. Let's get 163 knots entered. There we go. And we're expecting to fly the programmed flight plan. So let's go ahead and arm our lateral navigation and vertical navigation modes. And we've already set the heading bug, and our expected initial altitude of 10,000 feet is set. So everything is looking good on the flight deck for us to go ahead and push back. So let's go ahead and contact the tower, and we can get underway.
Back with the wine. You have made a beautiful choice. We just uncorked this when we got on board. It's a terrific red. Would you like to have a sample before I do a full pour? Does that work for you? Wonderful. Please enjoy that. We'll get situated for takeoff here, and I'll be back to help you with everything that you'll need once we get up in the air. Alright, please do relax. Let me know if there's anything I can help with, and enjoy the flight.
Good evening, folks. From the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. I want to welcome you on board this British Airways flight to Hong Kong. Flight time tonight will be 12 hours, 14 minutes. Pretty good weather overall. Got a few clouds here in London, and it is partly cloudy in Hong Kong at the moment. It is the tail end of the monsoon season, but it looks like we're gonna come in just ahead of some rain there in Hong Kong. I'll keep you advised on the latest as we get closer to our destination. In the meantime, we have some of the finest cabin crew around, so please do put yourselves in their hands. Their job is to make sure you have a safe and comfortable flight. We'll be on our way momentarily, so I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. Alright, we are clear of the jetway doors are closed. Just double check. Alright, we are good to begin our pushback. Or start checklist ready. And there is the tug getting clear. Alright, let's go ahead and get our engines started. Alright, electric demand pump, we set to auto. With that fault light out, we can turn on the electric pumps. And we can set the electric demand pump to auto. And the air demand pumps also go to auto. Confirm we have the passenger signs on. Let's go ahead and make sure left and right fuel pumps are on. Let's have a quick look at our display here. Go ahead and turn on our center pumps as well, and the fuel in the center. And let's turn on our beacon light as we are ready to start our engines. Alright, we have our takeoff reference page up. Values are input. Set on our mode control panel, and with our takeoff speeds, we've done our CDU pre-flight. Just make sure our elevator trim is set. We have a relatively straightforward taxi, going straight and then making a right, traveling down the length of the runway before we turn left onto runway 27 right. We have our taxi clearance. Alright, with our briefings completed, we have finished our before start checklist. Let's go ahead and get these engines running. Double check our total fuel figures here. Checking our fuel on board when we reach Kai Tak. Everything looks good. We have the appropriate loading. Alright. Parking brake is set. Let's go ahead and start the right engine. Flip that to start. And we can turn on the fuel cutoff lever. Keep an eye on our engine gauges here as we monitor the start. Alright, and let's go ahead and start the left engine as well. Introduce fuel, the fuel cutoff. And again, let's keep an eye on our gauges here. Alright, and looks like another good start. Alright, let's go ahead and set our flaps for takeoff. Set flaps 5. See flaps 5 indicating. We'll go ahead and turn off the APU. Not worried about icing conditions at the moment, so we are good with our engine anti-ice. Do a quick check of our flight controls here. looks good. Alright, so the aircraft looks good. Let's take a look at our before taxi checklist. De-ice is good. Let's set our rejected takeoff for the auto brake setting. Checked flight controls. And one last peek to ensure everyone is clear on the ground here. We're good to go. Before taxi checklist is complete. Go ahead and turn on our taxi lights, and we have our clearance. Can head out to the runway. Make our turn to the right on this taxiway. And taxi down the length of the runway here. We'll be making our turn here at the end of the runway and stopping at the old short. Just keeping an eye out for any arriving traffic here. And we'll go ahead and stop here. Flight attendants, please be seated for takeoff. And we are cleared for takeoff. Let's turn on our landing lights. We will enter the runway, line up. Do not see any traffic. Check our other direction as well. Before takeoff checklist, flaps are set, are good to go. We have all of our lights on. MCP is set as needed. Let's grab the takeoff reference page, and we are all set to depart. Thrust. And we will command toga power. Airplane taking over thrust control. $80 knots. Rotation. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Alright, and autopilot engaged. Nose coming down as we accelerate. Go flaps 1. There's our right turn on the procedure. And accelerating, can go flaps up. Alright, we see thrust reference, VNAV speed, and on the lateral navigation profile. First altitude restriction at 4,000 feet. Continuing our right turn. Alright. Heading for CHT. Restriction of flight level 60. Level at 6,000 with the procedure, waiting further clearance up to higher altitudes from air traffic control. Heading out towards BPK now, where the restriction lifts, in lieu of any other instructions. And we have been cleared up to 10,000. And we are above our transition altitude, so let's go standard on the altimeter. Have received our clearance up to our initial cruise altitude of 33,000 feet, flight level 330. Above 10,000 feet, let's go ahead and turn off our landing lights. Those are turn off lights and taxi light. And above 10,000 feet, we are accelerating to our climb speed. - 320 knots to our initial cruise altitude, flight level 330. Alright, continuing our climb here. Everything is looking nominal. We are on our way to Hong Kong. We will be making our crossing of the English Channel, starting from Dover. Literally gonna fly right over it, so doing things just as if we would, as if we were taking the ferry.
Well, good evening. Time to get our first class service started. First things first, I will give you our menu for the evening. We have a multi-course meal planned for you. We like to make sure the first class experience starts off amazing. So we will lead off with a caviar service. That'll be followed by a salad, and then your choice of entree for dinner. They are all exquisite. Of course, we have an amazing chef at the head of our food program here on the airline. Generally, I would say the pork is my favorite of the three options, but I will say the swordfish is impeccably fresh today, so that could be a very, very good option. And then we'll finish out with a cheese tray and dessert to ensure you have everything you need to enjoy a wonderful culinary experience, and then hopefully a bit of sleep after the entertainment. Now, can I get you a beverage to start off with? Wine or a cocktail? Anything you want, really. A gimlet. Okay. I absolutely can do that for you. Would you like that up or on the rocks? Up. Okay. And should I make it a double? Got it. Okay. Let me whip that up for you. My shaker ready to go. We'll start with gin, Bombay Sapphire, up next, of course, for the gimlet, the Rose's lime juice. And we'll do an ounce here for you. There we go. Pretty simple option, not making me work too hard. Much appreciated. No, I will absolutely do whatever it is that you need assistance with. That's why I'm here. We really appreciate your business, of course. All right. So let's get some ice in our shaker here and get your cocktail shaken up. Cocktail glass. Gorgeous. And of course, for the final touch, a little lime to garnish. And there, my friend, is your gimlet. Please enjoy, and I will be back shortly with the caviar. Divine. Of course, off to our left, in the corner of southeast England here, of course, is Sandwich. Let's give thanks to the Earl of Sandwich, who gave us sandwiches. Of course, on this side of the channel, we'll pass just north of Calais, going feet dry over Belgium.
still looking good in the climb here, and expecting to level out at flight level 330. Alright, I hope you're hungry. You are in for a real treat here. Start with placemat here. And napkin. And let's get you some silverware as well. Fork and knife and a spoon here. Okay, so to begin our dinner service, I have some caviar for you. Have this beautiful board. You've got sturgeon caviar, absolutely top grade stuff. Some butter, of course, and some sieved egg yolk for topping your caviar. So let me set this down. And then to accompany it, also have some beautiful little blinis for you. So I invite you to enjoy this beautiful caviar. Anything else I can get you at the moment? Absolutely, let me get you some water. There we are. Alright, please enjoy. I will be back before too long with a lovely salad for you. Until then, please enjoy. Lovely. Nice spread of butter here. This luscious caviar. And let's try a little egg yolk as well. Heaven on earth. Creaminess of the butter, richness of the egg yolk, and that beautiful, briny, fresh caviar. Really exquisite. Bruges out there to our left, and coming up on Ghent here. Let us give thanks for the Treaty of Ghent while we're in a thankful mood. Alright, so level at flight level 330. Our next step climb will be up to 350. 23:46 Zulu time, 15 minutes or so. And we are currently at our recommended flight level at this stage of the flight. So we'll be ready for that step climb. Otherwise, we are as expected. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the seatbelt sign for our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We have leveled out at 33,000 feet, our initial cruise altitude for this flight to Hong Kong. Weather looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off that seatbelt sign. Of course, do ask you to keep it fastened anytime you are seated, particularly overnight here if you intend to sleep, so the flight attendants don't have to bother you in the event of any unexpected turbulence. I'm gonna leave you alone up here to let you just enjoy and sleep if you'd like. Please do relax and enjoy yourselves and talk to our wonderful flight crew if there is anything you need. I'll check back in with you all as we get closer to Hong Kong. Thanks again for flying with us here on British Airways. Okay, how are you enjoying that caviar? It's so luxurious, isn't it? Makes a flight like this very special, I think. Can I clear that out of the way for you? Okay. This out of here. Grab that as well. Okay. And can I ask you what you've decided on for an entree? The swordfish. Wonderful choice, as I said. Extremely fresh today, so going to be absolutely delectable. I will have that coming right up for you. And then if you're ready for the salad course. Perfect. This terrific fresh salad, beautiful greens, these nicely sweet cherry tomatoes, some walnuts, a wonderfully aged Parmesan shaved over the top, and a drizzle of the finest balsamic vinegar from Modena. So I invite you to dig into this beautiful green salad. All right, I will be back in just a few. Oh, that's quite nice. Beautiful tomatoes. That aged Parmesan and that hit of that incredible balsamic really just takes this to the next level. Those walnuts add that perfect bit of crunch. It's a delicious salad. Alright, tracking towards the German border here, it is going to be time for our climb up to flight level 350. Turning towards the east here. Have received clearance for that higher altitude. We'll go ahead and initiate that climb. May I take your salad plate? Okay. All right. The entree should be coming out very shortly. And there we see auto throttle switching over to speed. And we are leveling out at flight level 350. Alright, and we are established at flight level 350. Next climb will be up to flight level 370 and about 1500 nautical miles right at midnight, so just a little more than an hour.
Alright, here we are. How's it going? Enjoying everything so far? I am so glad to hear that. Well, I have this exquisite offering for you. Beautiful swordfish with a spicy apple and mango chili sauce, some steamed rice, of course a beautiful strawberry rose. So let me give you this. Okay, all set. Anything else you need at this time? Great. Well, enjoy your swordfish. Very tasty. Like that there's a little sweet in that sauce, but there's a nice bit of heat that comes in there. Get the little mango flavor. Really quite wonderful.
Just passing over Frankfurt. Getting a great view of Orion out the cockpit window here. These night flights are pretty amazing for getting to see the stars. Next up, the Czech Republic. As we make our way across Europe here.
Okay, how are you doing? Did you like the swordfish? Very good, right? Kind of the sweet and spicy notes in that sauce, that hint of sour. It just all works so well together, I think. Yeah, a very special meal. You're all finished then? Okay, let me get that out of your way then. And don't worry, things do not stop there. You've still got a cheese course, which always one of my favorites. And then finally dessert. So I will take this, and before long you'll be seeing me again with a lovely selection of cheeses. All right.
Pretty quiet night over Europe. And there's our turn towards Pepik.
All right, the cheese course is upon us. Tonight I have some beautiful cheeses to offer. We have this orange mimolette, some incredible aged Gouda, probably my favorite, some nice Cambozola, for that blue cheese flavor, and this incredible soft ripened brie. So we'll leave that with you, and you can savor the cheese course. But don't worry, dessert is still to come. Oh, I always give thanks for cheese. My goodness. Try some of this Gouda. Wow. Verily am I transported to Pleasureville. It's exquisite cheese. Let's try the Cambozola. Exquisite. Right over Slovakia, on our way towards Hungary. Okay, what do you think of the cheeses? Such a wonderful way to wrap up a meal. Did you have a favorite? Excellent. Very good choice. Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me to pick. Can I take that plate from you then? Okay. I mean, the magic thing about cheese is it can be appetizer, main course, dessert. So wonderful, but even though we have a post-meal cheese course, we still like to finish off with a proper dessert. So tonight we have a wonderful Napoleon pastry. Gorgeous, beautiful strata in this thing. You can read geologic time in these layers, and all extremely recent, super fresh. Give you a new fork for this, and I invite you to enjoy this Napoleon pastry. Can I get you anything else? All right, lovely. Please enjoy. Oh wow, that's even better than I expected. It's beautiful layers, really nice frosting. Just get through this sturdier top layer there. Oh, after that whole meal, I can hardly get this in, but so delicious, so I'm gonna do my best. Alright, and we have crossed over into Romania, making good progress on our voyage here. Okay, what did you think of the dessert? Yes, it's very nice. All in all, a very luxurious meal that I hope you enjoyed. Great. Well, I will take that from you then. All right, and can I clear the rest of that out of the way for you? Perfect. Okay. If you're all set, then I will leave you be, okay? All right, great.
We'll transit across Romania, and then our route takes us out over the southern edge of the Black Sea towards Central Asia.
All right, folks. As we finish up the dinner service, we'll be starting the entertainment for this evening. The film tonight is Fantassus, the Tingle Planet, which critics say is a tingler and an edge of your sleep sensation. Honestly, folks, if you're looking to get some shut-eye, I do recommend watching the film. Flight attendants will be passing through the aisles with headsets if you would like to enjoy the film here on board tonight. Thank you. Okay. Would you like some headphones to watch the film this evening? Trust me, you want to watch it. This Fantassus is an incredible cinematic experience. Give those to you. All right, enjoy.
All right, we're crossing over the coast. Over the Black Sea here. Skirt the northern coast of Turkey. A little bit more than an hour until our next step climb. Alright, gonna make a turn towards the east, over the center of the Black Sea. Swing us out towards Bamop. And then we're starting that turn.
After Hoskins died, we went to visit his wife, Abel and I. The strange thing was she was quite convinced he was still alive. In fact, that he had never even left. We asked where he was. She said he'd gone to the store. We waited up the road, but of course he never came back. A hallucination? Sure. Only she seemed convinced in a way that troubled me. While we were there, I had noticed worn clothes, boot prints. I never said anything to Fitzgerald. Oh, how about that? Starting to get the first light of dawn on the horizon there. Quite a sight. 200 nautical miles to our next step climb. Expected at 2:28 Zulu time. Less than half an hour now. And we are passing back onto land. Looks like we can go ahead and turn off these center fuel tank pumps. Clear our memo there. And we are just coming up on our step climb. 42 nautical miles from here at 2:28. We'll be going up to flight level 370. The whole planet seems to emit crackling sonic energy. It comes through the walls of the station. I can feel it as I walk about, as I lay in bed, even as I sleep.
A nice prismatic set of colors here over Georgia. Was it a rainy night in Georgia? Just overcast.
We are inside the anechoic chamber, built to help us study phantasms. Sound waves reflected are absorbed. The room is isolated from the main structural framework of the station and heavily soundproofed with sound dampening insulation. It is one of the quietest spaces in the galaxy, and yet, even in here, you can hear phantasms or feel it. I brought you here just to let you know that many barriers we thought were fixed, impermeable, are in fact quite permeable. Phantasmus has shown us that. You might see things here on the station that will belong to realms and barriers you thought could not be crossed over from. And yet here, you will see they are in fact permeable. You need not worry. It simply shows how little we do know of the world.
Wow, we are getting some absolutely gorgeous colors with the sunrise. So beautiful. Really makes flying a pleasure. To be able to experience something like this, to have this kind of view. Just terrific. Very happy to take that in here for a moment. I'll probably put the sun visors down to manage the glare, but right now, pretty extraordinary sight. Beautiful with these kind of wispy clouds. Quite something.
You see, to interact with a single individual after this, it would be like listening to an entire symphony and only hearing the string squeaks from a single instrument. It is completely different once you see beyond self, beyond other, beyond race, beyond world, beyond galaxy, universe, beyond. It is quite a comfort, really. There is an infinity of serenity out there. available, and not an infinity limited in the way your concept of it is.
Just another tequila sunrise. Not because I've been drinking in my off hours here. Just mean that coloration. Apropos name for the drink, you know what I mean? Beautiful.
Approaching the anomaly is changing proportion fractally. If you could see it, I think you would know no fear. And you would see it as I see it, with awe.
Alright, well, it's hidden below the overcast. But we just crossed coast. Now above the Caspian Sea.
Hey, how are you? Good, good. Did you sleep at all, or planning to? Don't worry, it's my job to be awake. Can I get you something? Milk and cookies? I actually absolutely can get you milk and cookies. Yeah, if you haven't been sleeping, you definitely will after these. So, what sends you to Hong Kong? Nice glass of milk. Just to spice up your life a little. Have you heard that song, the new Spice Girls song? So good, so catchy. And let's see. Have a couple of these amazing chocolate chip cookies. Takes all my willpower not to eat these. So, some late night milk and cookies should be just what the doctor ordered. Go. Yeah, once or twice a week. Did you watch the film Fantastis? What did you think? I know, right? Absolutely blew my mind the first time I saw it. Yeah. Well, if you're a film fan, have you ever seen any of the John Woo movies? Action movies out of Hong Kong? Oh man, if you have not, you are missing out. They're pretty hard to find in the States, so I recommend seeking them out while you're in town. A Better Tomorrow, The Killer, Hard Boiled. He just absolutely rewrote the book on action. Just crazy sequences, big emotions, melodrama, just unbelievable action films, yeah. Yeah, check out a video store, see if you can find them. Highly recommend. So many great Hong Kong cinema classics, actually. Kung Fu films, the John Woo films, just everything you could imagine. Yeah. Yeah, so many great things to do in the city, too. Alright, well, enjoy your milk and cookies. Have a wonderful night, and if you need anything else, of course, I am here. So feel free to come bother me if you need.
through part of Kazakhstan before flying over part of Uzbekistan, and then we'll end up back in Kazakhstan. The coast on the Caspian Sea up ahead of us there. Right over Kazakhstan. Well on target with our arrival and fuel reserves. 1,200 miles to our next step climb. Bit desolate out here. Our next waypoint is basically on the border with Uzbekistan. Go ahead and put my sunshade down. Just make life a little easier here with that glare. Alright. Well, somewhere out to the north there is Baikonur Cosmodrome, the heart of the Russian space program, be the equivalent of the American Cape Canaveral, launching rockets into space here in Central Asia. Tracking our way over Kazakhstan here, have a lot of ground to cover. It is the world's 9th largest country. And our fun fact of the day is the largest landlocked country. With all that territory, it has one of the lowest population densities of any country on Earth. Before too long here, we'll make a turn to the southeast, which will take us across Kyrgyzstan before we head into China. Here we are over Kyrgyzstan, passing over Lake Issyk-Kul. So, fun fact, it is the second largest mountain lake in the world, after Lake Titicaca. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Situated here in the Tian Shan mountain range. Some pretty exquisite geography in this region. Sun wrapping around behind us. Stow those visors and really take in the view here. absolutely heavenly. Of course, being in a region of higher terrain, we need to maintain our awareness, possible escape avenues, in case we did have to descend to a lower altitude. Of course, passing over this mountain range, we'll be entering a region of flatter geography as we get into southwest China. In fact, we are coming up on the China border. As we speak. Oh, unbelievable. Incredible geography. Alright, we are due for another step climb. This time we'll be going up to flight level 390. And we are cleared up to our new altitude. Enter 390 in the window. I'll go ahead and push the knob here so the airplane can take us up to our new cruising altitude. See the climb initiated. And climbing up to our new altitude, passing through flight level 380 and continuing that climb. Able to capitalize on higher altitude for a little more fuel efficiency. We're pretty deep into our flight here. And we see the auto throttle mode shifting back over to speed. Starting to slow our climb here to level out at flight level 390. And there we are leveling off at flight level 390. Out over China. She'll be flying over for the remainder of the flight. Of course, just a year or so ago, we would have traveled into the British colony of Hong Kong. It has been handed over. Be interesting to see how that plays out over time.
Good morning. How are things? Lovely. Got a bit of sleep, did you? Let me get you set up for our breakfast service. And then I have here our breakfast menu. We'll be starting things off with some beautiful fresh fruit. You'll have a choice of entree, and then we have some lovely pastry to finish things off. I will let you take a look at that, but can I get you some beverage started? Some coffee or tea? Coffee, perfect. Beautiful brew. And can I get you cream or sugar with that? Black? Okay. Straight up. That's the way I like it. You know, whiskey, bad news, or coffee, just give it to me straight, you know? Oh, I can definitely get you some orange juice as well. There we are. Coffee and orange juice, really just the right way to start the day, I'd say. I will be back in one moment with that fruit plate, so I will see you shortly.
Believe this is the Taklamakan Desert, pronounced differently. Very interesting terrain. Western China, mountains of Tibet, somewhere out there to the south.
Okay, is the caffeine starting to do its job? Perfect. Have you made a selection? The congee? That is a great choice. Honestly, it's my favorite thing on the menu. So comforting. It's really nice after a long flight like this. You can take the menu out of your way if you'd like. Perfect. All right. And then I have this fresh fruit plate for you. Selection of fresh fruits: strawberry, blackberry, raspberry, blueberry, some beautiful pears, as well as some honey and fresh yogurt. So let me set that there in front of you.
Okay, beautiful. And I will be back very soon with your entree, okay? All right. Alright, let's have a look at our progress. Still expecting arrival into Hong Kong around 10:30. Backing towards Duman. We will have one more step climb towards the end of our flight, up to flight level 410, 9:19 Zulu time, about 1300 nautical miles. Somewhere way to the south of us are the Himalayas of Nepal, Bhutan. Here we are. Did you enjoy the fruit? It's beautiful, isn't it? Love it when it's so fresh like that. Am I good to take that plate from you? Okay. There we go. And in return, I have your entree selection. I have this beautiful bowl of congee for you. It's got those perfectly boiled eggs, bacon, some scallion. Gives it just a really wonderful flavor in this very comforting porridge. So, and then to go with it, these lovely braised greens. Adds a nice touch to accompany it. All right. Other than that, is there anything else I can get you at the moment? You need to freshen up your coffee at all? Oh yeah, just a little bit, sure. Okay, well I will leave you to enjoy your congee and braised greens, and I'll be back in just a little while to check on you, okay? Enjoy. Still about 1,000 nautical miles to our step climb. Looking good. Okay. Very good. Have some greens. All right, how are we? Great. All finished here? Don't worry, there is still more to come. The breakfast service that keeps on giving. Yeah, I can take that for you. There we go. Grab this, okay. And good otherwise. Okay, give me just a moment. Let me make sure your croissant is nice and warm. So let me take care of that, and I will be back in just a second, okay? All right. Still a couple hours out on our final step climb. Otherwise, looking good here.
Okay, as promised, your croissant. It's a beautiful, flaky, buttery pastry. The airline has a sensational pastry chef to make these little delicacies. And to accompany it, I have some strawberry jam and some lovely fresh butter. So let me set these down here for you. And I invite you to enjoy your croissant with butter and jam. Anything else that I can get you at the moment? Beautiful. Well, you enjoy, and no doubt I'll see you again soon. All right, enjoy. Perfection. Well, in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm back. Can I take that plate from you? Good, right? Yeah, I absolutely love those croissants. Take that. Grab butter and jam as well. Yeah, just having kind of perfect little ingredients to accompany it just makes it even more magical. And then how about the coffee and OJ? Can I take those as well? Okay. There we go. And let me clear the rest of this out of the way here. Grab this as well. That completes our breakfast service. Did you get everything that you needed? Fantastic. All right, well, we'll be landing before too long, so please do enjoy the rest of your flight. Yeah, as always, we appreciate you flying with us. Okay. City of Chongqing is out there to the east of us as we track south, making good progress. About half an hour away from our final step climb, which will take us up to flight level 410. Of course, heading eastbound, we got a sunrise and we'll get a sunset as well. A shortened day. Nice pink puffy clouds here for us. Sun just sinking down below the horizon here. It's still targeting our step climb at 10:20 Zulu. Alright, cleared for our final cruising altitude, flight level 410. Maximize every last drop of fuel here as we head on up to our final cruise altitude.
making our way up to flight level 410. $40,500, coming up on 41,000. Start to level off here. There we see the auto throttle shifting to the speed mode. And leveling off here at flight level 410. Pass over the city of Guilin. Alright, let's go ahead and start talking about our approach into Hong Kong. Make sure that we're able to stay ahead of the aircraft, as this is a challenging approach. As such, we'll just want to make sure that we've prepared the aircraft ahead of time and complete our descent procedure in a timely fashion as we get into the Hong Kong area. We've all done the checkerboard approach to runway 13 in Hong Kong before, but let's make sure we do a review. There is a lot to think about and stay on top of. Remember, this is not a precision approach. There's a displaced localizer, so we'll need to visually sight the runway and make the turn towards the runway visually. Otherwise, we'll need to initiate the missed approach procedure. Airport elevation is just 15 feet, sits right on the bay there in Hong Kong. We have terrain in the area, both northeast of the airport, east of us as we're descending on the glide slope. There's also terrain on the island out where they're building the new airport, reclaimed land out there. So the approach is going to steer us clear of that terrain, but we need to be very mindful of our altitude minimums in order to preserve that terrain clearance. So the approach begins the CH VOR. We will fly outbound on the 270 radial from CH to start our approach. Initial approach altitude will be 8,000 feet. And once we are 7 nautical miles outbound from that VOR, we will initiate our right turn. And that is directing us towards the SL and DB. And our altitude floor there is 4,500 feet. That turn is going to put us on intercept heading for a 45-degree heading to intercept the localizer, which has heading of 88 degrees. So we will capture the localizer and get established on the glide slope, beginning our descent down towards the runway. Again, This will not take us to the runway. We will need to make a turn visually to line up with the runway. So we must visually identify the runway by the time we reach the middle marker in order to make that turn. If we do not have the runway in sight by the time we reach the middle marker, we must initiate the missed approach procedure. This approach takes us down through the buildings of Kowloon, and as noted before, there's also the hills to the east, north and east of the airport that we need to be concerned about. So if we have the runway in sight, we make the turn, about a 47-degree turn on final to line up with the runway and land. If we have to initiate the missed approach procedure, which again is mandatory if we don't have visual flight by middle marker, we need to make a right turn 2.2 nautical miles from the KL DME, which is at the middle marker. We'll initiate a climb to 4,500 feet, turning right to track inbound on the 315 radial of the TH VOR. In the event of a missed approach, since I will be flying, I will ask you to handle communications with ATC to notify them of our missed approach. So again, we'll track it outbound from the CH VOR on the 270 radial. We'll make a right turn 7 nautical miles from that VOR, getting us on a 45-degree heading for intercept of the localizer. Need to stay above 4,500 feet. Get the SL and until we're established on the glide slope. We will look for a visual sight of the runway, and looks like there are some scattered and overcast skies in the area. So we need to ensure that we get sight of that runway by the time we reach the middle marker. If so, we will make the right turn to align with the runway. If not, we need to initiate the missed approach, again making the right turn at the middle marker, picking up the inbound 315 radial of the TH VOR, and climbing to 4,500 feet. We can initiate a holding procedure or follow ATC instructions as is appropriate. Any questions about the approach? Alright, recommend you take a look at it on your own. We'll have to tune a fair number of DMEs and NDBs to help track our progress while inbound on the approach and the event of the missed approach. So we'll want to have those at hand and be on top of those. I've done this many times. It is quite thrilling as long as we maintain our situational awareness, keep our eyes out of the cockpit, as it is busy airspace, and we'll keep an eye out for traffic, and we will have no difficulties safely landing this aircraft. Sound good? Alright, let's do it. We are getting close to the top of our descent. About 100 nautical miles, 1122 Zulu. Of course, ATC may give us different instructions. Let's go ahead and start prepping the cockpit for our descent. To have the latest weather for Kai-Tak. Some scattered clouds down to about 600 feet, so we will need to ensure we have sight of the runway. Light winds coming out of the east, just about down the runway, a few knots of wind. departure and arrival. We are set up with our approach here through Tempt. So waiting, getting to the intercept point. Have run some numbers, our expected landing figures. Aircraft weight will be 408,000 pounds. Our VREF speed is going to be 136 knots. And it looks like we need 3,075 feet of runway to stop with an auto brakes 3 setting. And flaps 25 landing, and we have 9,367 feet of runway to work with. The runway sits on the bay there in Hong Kong, so if we overshoot, we are going into the water. It's important we touch down the appropriate spot on the runway, and it will give us plenty of runway to work with. Go ahead and preset our altimeter here before the switch over. It's currently 30.14. Dial that in so we are ready for the transition. Still on standard here at altitude. Still a few minutes before our expected top of descent. There are no published minimums for the approach because it is ultimately visual. Look at our approach reference page here. We'll be doing 25 and VREF of 136. Enter that in. Set to go. Alright, we have reviewed the approach to runway 13, the checkerboard approach. Any other questions at this time about that approach? Alright, I will be the one flying. Please handle all communications. We should be all set to go once we get our clearance to descend. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We're going to be starting our descent in just a few minutes. Once we begin that descent, I will turn the seatbelt sign on, and it will remain on for the remainder of the flight. Please do keep those seatbelts fastened once that light comes on. It looks like we are in just ahead of the next round of storms. Might get a little rain this evening. Looking at some broken clouds over the city. If this is your first time flying into Hong Kong, we are doing the checkerboard approach into runway 13. And that approach does take us down through the buildings of Kowloon City. There is a sharp right turn on final as we line up with the runway. This is very normal for us, but it can be a bit jarring if you've never experienced it before, to find yourself looking into living rooms of buildings along the flight path. I'm sure it is normal, and you're in good hands up here with your crew. So please do enjoy the remainder of the flight. We should have you on the ground before too long. And as always, I thank you for flying with British Airways. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will ask the flight attendants to please prepare the cabin for arrival. Thank you, and have a good night. Alright, we do have clearance to descend to a lower altitude. On the minimum descent before starting the approach. is, of course, 8,000 feet. Have that entered on the window. And we should be at our top of descent point here in just a couple of minutes. And there we see our vertical profile, and the autopilot is initiating the descent to the lower altitude as expected. Looking good. It's asking for some additional drag to help maintain our speed here. Let's go ahead and turn the seatbelt signs on. Okay, let's look at our approach checklist. Did the recall on the issues. We have no notes. Auto brake is set to 3 calculated VREF. I mentioned the minimums. Approach briefing has been completed for our approach to 1-3. Checklist is complete. Go ahead and clear that. Making our turn to bring us back towards Hong Kong. Just double check our fuel. Plenty of reserves on board. Hang up our turn here at Charlie. Alright, ATC has given us vectors to the northeast as we're descending towards 8,000 feet, the minimum altitude for CH. Expecting a turn back to the left to intercept that 270 radial. And there's our transition altitude. Change away from standard. Let's go ahead and get our landing lights on. Let's really light ourselves up here for visibility as we go in for landing. Alright, we're coming up on 8,000 feet, which is our floor until we reach the CH VOR. Cabin is ready for arrival. To head inbound to CH VOR. Let's go ahead and execute there. Make sure we have LNAV armed. We can fly direct to CH at this point, which will be the initial part of our approach. Let's just take a look at our radios page, ensure that we see the ILS pre-tuned 111.9 and course 88. That's exactly what we want to see. Inbound here to the CH VOR, 7 nautical miles ahead. It'll be our turn towards 270 Point Golf. Which will have an altitude restriction of 6,000. We're on the approach. I'm going to go ahead and set that in now. Our next restriction will be 4,500. As we reach the SL NDB, and we'll aim to capture the glide slope. Then we're to Gaul, so we're lowering below 8,000 on our way to 6,000. Go ahead and put the next restriction. 4,500. Initiating our turn towards SL. stabilizer as we line up to intercept here. And slowing down. Go to flaps 5. Arm our approach. Localizer capture. Alright, let's arm our speed brake. Flaps 20. Glide slope dot is lining up. Looking to capture. Gear down. And there we've captured the glide slope. Set flaps 25 for landing. A nice stabilized approach. You need to keep an eye out for the runway. Currently, the overcast, it is not yet in sight. Landing checklist, speed brake is armed, landing gear is down, and we are showing 25 flaps. And checklist complete. Alright, we are reaching the outer marker. Do have a bank of clouds sitting in front of us. We do not yet have the runway in sight. Getting some rain here. Alright, we are closing in on the middle marker. We're going to have to go missed approach if we do not have that runway in sight. Of the runway. Can turn off here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hong Kong. As always, we thank you for choosing British Airways. We hope you enjoyed your flight with us, and please do enjoy your time here in Hong Kong. Have a wonderful evening.
Bit of that rain coming in as expected. And turn off our landing lights here and our strobes. Turn towards the gates here. to our gate here. Make sure we are lined up. There we are. Let's go ahead and set the parking brake. We've confirmed the APU is running. Let's go ahead and shut down these engines. And we can turn off that seatbelt sign.